Good morning, movie people. This is another edition of Cody's Movie Cave, and today we're discussing the historical epic Medieval. It's currently playing in theaters. Medieval stars Ben Foster, who more or less most of the time plays the supporting characters, supporting cast. More of a character actor, so this is his first time being an actual leading man. So let's get into it. Medieval is about this 15th century Czech folk hero um, who was a medieval mercenary who kind of more or less worked for the highest bidder. I'll admit I don't know a whole lot about the Czech or Bohemian Empire during this time, but the movie is more or less his origin story, kind of what happens, before he gets established as this, legendary hero or what have you. Okay, the movie itself is a little on the long side. It's 2 hours, and personally I feel that it went for maybe 30 minutes too long. The story kind of can sometimes be a little confusing and kind of bogged down with all the political, kings and all this and that. But the action is pretty good. I mean, for a sword movie, it's really good. It's medieval, so I mean, right there in its name, it's brutal. There are some brutal parts of this movie, especially in the fights. Lots of gore, lots of blood. But yeah, you kind of get to learn about this guy, this Jan Zawiska. It's hard to pronounce, but you kind of get to learn a little bit about his character. He's more or less he's a mercenary and he's a killer, but at the same time he's kind of got this whole reluctant vibe that you kind of understand that he really don't want to do. He don't want to be killing folks hardly anymore. So he's kind of got morals. In each battle, he always starts out with with a prayer that he says, God forgive us for what we're about to do. So I thought that was pretty cool. He loses an eye about midway through, and that whole scene of him kind of keeping the eye disinfected with I won't go in how gruesome it is, but it's a little on the nasty side. But he loses an eye, and so that just adds to his character of being this bad-ended warrior. The action's good, like I said, and you learn about the character. He was a brilliant strategist. Come up with some pretty brilliant plans. I think according to Google, this character never hardly lost any battles because I mean he fought with his brain more than he did the sword. So it's a good movie, decent. I wouldn't say great. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's kind of right there in the middle. Personally, I would wait till it came out on digital and rent or something like that. It is playing in theaters, but you kind of for this movie you really go more for the battles and the action scenes because, like I said, the plot can kind of be a little convoluted at times and kind of bogged down. There's a lot of dark scenes, and which it's a dark time, so. But yeah, good cast. Like I said, Ben Foster, I thought did a pretty good job as the lead man for what I think is the first time. Like I said, he's mostly a character actor who kind of, really more does like a sideline type job. But this one, he's front and center, so he does decent. The critique I would give with his performance is he uses his American accent, which I never really care for in these types of movies, especially period pieces, I feel like you should at least try to kind of do an accent or something. But if you can't, I get it. But yeah, you know, he plays this Czech warrior, and he doesn't really try to use an accent. So that's my only critique with Mr. Ben Foster. And there's other great actors, you know, the great Michael Caine. He's in this one. Is you know, a few little scenes here and there. He does a good job. He's getting on up there in age too, but he does a decent job. I'm trying to think of who else I recognized. There's a few others, but we won't mention. Yeah, it's, like I said, 2 hours, I believe. A little too long, in my opinion. They could have made it an hour and a half, hour and 40, and it'd been just as good. So if you want to check it out, you know, do so, but, you know, kind of go into it story-wise. You got to pay attention, real close attention. I will say this, with Ben Foster's lead character, Mr. Zawiska, most of the time you kind of expect him to use swords, you know, in this type of movie. He gets to use a freaking mace in this one, and I thought that was cool. I really liked that aspect of the movie. He gets to use like this big mace, and that's his weapon of choice, and it is deadly. You know, from taking folks' face off or, you know, bashing brains in, what have you. It's a bad little tool, and he knows how to use it pretty good. This Zawiska, however you say it. But yeah, it's decent, not great, not good, not bad. So it's kind of right there in the middle of the road. It's rated R. I mean, it's in its title. It's medieval. You know, this dude goes medieval on some folks. So it's on the gory side. Very violent. Very, like I said, very gory, graphic. There's some brief nudity. Not really a lot of language in this movie, but it's mostly just violent and kind of, you know, gritty that way. As always, this is my personal opinion. If you want to check it out, go get Medieval. You know, that's up to you, but this is my opinion. And as always, you know what I say about opinions? They're like butts. Everybody's got one. Some of them stink.